Hello, Cancer, and welcome to Indigo Rising Tarot. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope you're having a great day. This will be your weekly reading for the week of June 6th through the 12th. And during that time, we'll have a waxing gibbous moon. And a waxing gibbous is a really good time to be flexible and make adjustments. So, you're working on something and you just need to decide, what's working and what you're going to continue doing and what you might throw out. You might want to focus on one thing or the other a little harder. We then move into the full moon energy on the 10th, kind of through the 11th. It happens late on the 10th, I believe, is the actual full moon. But that could be a time where there's heightened emotions, or you feel a little overwhelmed and anxious. If you're like me, you have sleep issues. I can never sleep during a full moon, but at least it's summer now, so we can sit outside and watch it at least. So but pay attention to those moon energies. And the full moon is just a really good time for us to practice patience and calm, in the face of that just feeling jittery and having all that energy. So but do keep those moon energies in mind as we move through the week. This will be an intuitive general reading for energies that you may or may not encounter, Cancer. So, of course, please take what resonates and leave what doesn't for someone else. And your overall message for this reading is hold your vision. All right. Let's see what the Cancer Collective is holding their vision on. And Cancer, I will say that since my readings are free to you, all that I ask in return is that you hit that subscribe button right there. It really helps my channel and it's super easy for you to do. I will give you just a moment to do that now while I'm shuffling. Thank you so much. And if you've been a subscriber, thank you for coming back and helping me build a community here. I see you and I appreciate you. Thank you so much. All right, Cancer, my weekly reminder this week is that you pay attention to the synchronicities that are around you. Just notice what's going on in the world. This would be, maybe an animal that you don't normally see. This could be, repeating numbers, number patterns, that sort of things that kind of just keep popping up. I mean, for me, I see 444 all the time. So I might see it on a receipt. I might see it at a gas station as I'm driving by, or a road sign, or on a license plate. And it's just it just seems like when I start to see a repeating number pattern, which a lot of times for me it is the fours, they're everywhere. It's like everywhere I look until I'm like, I get it. So pay attention to those. Again, it could be like a song that comes on the radio that just makes you think about a situation that you're in where the song is appropriate. So just pay attention to those synchronicities. Those are, it's the universe's way of offering you little clues and breadcrumbs for you to follow and show you clarity on your unique path. So just my reminder for you guys to pay attention to those. All right, without further ado, here, Cancer, July 6th through the 12th, hold your vision. All right, Cancer, your overall energy, 7 of Cups. So it looks like you're going through some sort of phase where you have a lot of choices. Some of these choices could be bad, some of them could be good. It just kind of depends on what you choose. But, will you use your emotion to make these choices? Will you let some logic seep in as well? I mean, of course, this is a card of cups, which is about emotion. So, if you're having these emotional choices to make, just take a breath, maybe not choose so quickly, so rapidly, just kind of think things through just a little bit. Your current situation is the Strength card. So, yeah, it takes inner strength to choose correctly, especially if you're going through an emotional time and you're making choices based on your emotions. So, just really think things through. Look at this, look at these. I'd like to point out the smoke here that these cups are sitting in. That's like a cloud, and it's kind of gray. It's not like a white cloud. It's kind of like murky, smoky, these choices that are coming up. And oh, what do I decide? So make sure you're using your inner strength so that you are making good and wise and strong choices. At the root of your situation is the Nine of Pentacles. So this is about really enjoying the fruits of your labor. And that's fine. That's fine to do that. Just make sure you're making the right choices as you're doing that, right? And make sure, again, if those choices are emotional, that you're just kind of plugged in and making sure that you're making the right and strong choices for yourself. In your recent past is the Two of Swords. So it looks like in your recent past you've been faced with some sort of indecision, something that maybe you took some time to think about. I mean, and this could be why all of a sudden now you have all of these choices. You might have finally opened yourself up to, hey, I'm going to go ahead and make a decision on this. And maybe it's not as clear as black and white. It could be that you did open up to a lot of different choices. So, it looks like you're coming already out of a place of indecision, and maybe something is kind of forcing you to make decisions here. But just make sure again that you're using your inner wisdom, your inner strength to make the right choices. What is on your mind is the Page of Swords, which, pages are juveniles, and this is about something new to you, like a new way to communicate, but it's a new path. And in this case, it's like a new intellectual path, but it's also a new communication path. I'm going to go back here because it's pointing me to your overall card, which was hold your vision. You might have had some sort of vision going on in the past, and maybe you're getting these distractions with these choices or with this indecision. Make sure that you are using that inner strength that you've built up, that you are kind of enjoying the fruits of your labor. And if you're moving forward in some sort of project or some sort of something that you're changing in your life that has this new way of thinking for you or a new way of communicating, just make sure that you're really holding your vision, and make sure, again, if you've got these murky clouds around these emotional choices that are there, make sure that, just go back to what your original thought was. Maybe this original decision here, that you're going to hold your vision of what you want the future to be. Don't let yourself get distracted, right, by the trappings of, new communication if something's coming in or new information that's coming in. Hold your vision. It might be that you want to just not make a choice yet. That's don't feel like you're rushed into making any sort of choices about anything. What is just ahead of you is the Queen of Cups. So, is this, like I said, not making a choice? Look at her robe. Look how it's we talked about the murky cloud. She is definitely robed in kind of the sky, black or very white and very blue, but very clear, kind of like a cloud, right? Where that's not the murky cloud that we're seeing over here. She's also in this watery emotion here, this water that she's sitting there, but she knows how to balance, the world with her emotion. She knows how to keep one foot in the, on the earth while she's exploring those emotions with her other foot there, right? So it's kind of like showing, it's almost like the temperance card, one foot on the earth and one foot in the emotional water. So, and this tells me, because this is in your future, that you're going to make the right choice, and you're going to do it in a very emotionally balanced way, which, anytime we have a queen, we're dealing with kind of the understanding, and not only the understanding for yourself, but also for everyone around you, everyone in your kingdom. You understand everyone's motivations because you have a real good clarity about the emotional machinations of just everyone around you. So pay attention to that. That's kind of what's in your future there. In your advice position is, I've seen this card a lot. And again, we've got this full moon coming up, but this is our card of anxiety and sleepless nights, and just kind of where you cannot get settled because there's something so heavy on your mind, or just something in there it's like a splinter, right? You just can't get it out of your head. So your advice, because this is in your advice position, I'm going to say that it's you really have to face this anxiety, and I think you have to face it before you end up with a sleepless night. So, whatever this choice is, you really do need to face it, but you need to hold your vision of whatever this is that you set out with. And because this reading is not giving me a real super specific part of your life, it could be for different parts of life for different cancers. So, for some of you, this could be about a relationship and making a choice, and dealing with some anxiety that's coming up there. It could be about a job. It could be about a move that you're about to make, but it's something in your life that's involving a lot of choices that are coming at you right now. And yeah, it's just, it's a template. So it could be for different things for different people. But your advice here is that you need to face what this is to avoid this anxiety and to avoid these sleepless nights. It's kind of like, work out the anxiety before you go to bed, right? What is beyond your control this week is the Five of Wands. So it looks like a little bit of debate, a little bit of argument. So this may involve other people as well, and how your choices affect others. And that's kind of beyond your control right there. Let me see if we have Looking for other cards there, fives, but I don't. Okay, yeah. So you're just, it's beyond your control. There's going to be some discussion, some debate. Does it get into an argument? Maybe, maybe not. This card doesn't always denote that it's going to be an argument. It could just be a healthy, friendly debate, with people that are around you and discussing this issue that you're having or these choices that you're making. What is your secret desire or what you're trying to avoid? Okay, so now here comes the Two of Pentacles, which, if you know a Gemini, I'm starting to see a few cards that were also in the Gemini reading. So you may want to go cross watch for that reason. You may be connected up with a Gemini, and their situation might, I'm seeing some parallels and some card crossing here. Anyway, so what you're trying to avoid, or what is your secret desire, is just trying to keep it all in the air, just trying to keep everything going, um and is that your secret desire? Maybe, or you may be just trying to avoid that. You might just be trying to shut everything out while you make this decision. But that'll be your big question of the week. Is that are you trying to juggle everything, or are you trying to just not do anything at all? In your outcome position is the Death card. So it looks like this is going to come to some sort of ending. The Death card doesn't always mean actual death. Of course, it can in some cases, but usually what it means is it's an ending of something. So whatever this thing is that you've been holding your vision on, it looks like whatever way that you've been going about it is going to come to an end. And maybe that's why you're anxious about it. Maybe that's why there's some arguments about it. But, I feel like that's just what has to happen. And it might be that you pick up the pieces and you make different choices and you move into your future with kind of a fresh start, a new start. But it's something about these choices and things that are going on that is just going to bring you to this ending, because it's an ending. You're just kind of done with it. What is hidden from you this week would be the Knight of Swords. And this would be either ideas or messages that come in fast. So that's not going to be the case for you. There's not going to be a whole lot of ideas coming around. It's going to be, you're kind of stuck with whatever it is that you've set out to do. Um, and this death really could mean, if you're supposed to be holding your vision, it could be that some of these choices that you are making and these arguments that you're having are not true to the vision, right? And so the death would be, you're going to stop doing that and you're going to just kind of recalculate. I was talking about the waxing gibbous moon, that this is the time when we make adjustments and we, try to be as flexible as we can, because we find out, oh, this thing that I'm doing is not working in the way that I want it to. I need to make adjustments and I need to change this. I need to do this more because it is working. Get rid of that thing that's not working. So go ahead and make those adjustments and let whatever way of being and way of doing you had, just let it go, let it die. And then hold your vision for what you want and just kind of recalculate and do it in a better way moving forward. All right, let's get a final message here for Cancer from the Soul Oracle deck. Final message here for Cancer. He's trying to hold their vision on something, some way of doing something, and making those adjustments and making the good choices, right? Retreat. Okay. Back off, retreat, and again, retreat and kind of reevaluate what you're doing. There's something that you're doing that's that I think you have really good intentions about, but it's not working towards your end goal. All right, let's see what happens here in the way of self-care. This is the self-care wisdom cards from Cheryl Richardson that I started pulling these last week for you guys. And I just love this deck. But let's see what Cancer needs to do in the way of self-care. Cancer, July 6th through 12th. Funny, I feel like this card also came out for Gemini. Look up their reading. This might have something to do with you also. Anyway, the card is growth. All right, evaluation starts when you leave your comfort zone. Get comfortable with being uncomfortable. And yeah, I will say again, if you have a Gemini in your life, Cancer, or you may have some Gemini in your sign also, somewhere in your chart somewhere, you might want to watch that reading, because it may be, especially if you have like a Gemini moon or something in your chart, that this could have to do with, or the Gemini reading may be very relevant to you as well. Anyway, hold your vision. Retreat. If this is some sort of debate or something, you've got these choices and things going on, retreat and go ahead and reevaluate, and get comfortable with being uncomfortable, and if this means you have to just scrap an entire project and say, okay, I'm going to start over from scratch, then that's what you do. That's what you have to do sometimes. Sometimes, you have a vision of the way you want something to go and it's just not working. And you just have to go about it a completely different way. So, Gemini, I really appreciate your time here with me today. I do hope there was something in this reading that you can take away and use. I do wish you luck on this ending and this kind of regrouping of getting yourself organized to make better choices and move forward in just a more positive way. So, I will say again, look up the angel number 22, because I'm seeing a couple of twos here in your reading. And also, I'm seeing a lot of parallels with the Gemini reading. So go check that one out if you are curious. Also, again, leave a comment if you're brave enough to do that, and tell me what's going on with you. What sort of vision, what sort of things are you having to kind of scrap and redo. For some of you, this might be something with a family, with friendship. This might be something in a relationship or a work related project or something that's going on, whatever template this happens to go over for you individually. So if you're comfortable sharing, of course, drop me a comment. I do post every week. So come back next week, Cancer. We'll see if this energy continues, if the story continues, or if there's a completely new energy here for you. So also, if you like my reading style, of course, please like and subscribe. It really helps my channel, but most importantly, it'll help you find me next week. So thanks so much, Cancer. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.